All right, so gents, a good evening. Question for 10 marks. Nelson Makam was designing the Betway Premiership trophy. We're all waiting to see it. As soon as he's done, does he just send it to Glodkop?
Did he put in some yellow colors in there as well?
We don't know what it looks like.
Tell
But
him.
where is he sending it?
Just call him and tell him, just put the yellow stuff in there somewhere because
For Kabuyelu.
Kabuyelo.
But Bobby says that they're still in the mix for it to go to Naturena. So
They are cooking. All right. Well, that's what the two gents have to say. Welcome to the Betway Premiership review show. Now, while cheese were cooking in Cape Town, Pirates got cooked in the nation's capital. And as usual, Mamelodi Sundowns was certainly feasting. This past weekend was an eventful round in the Betway Premiership with thrilling tussles at the top and bruising battles at the bottom. Welcome to the Betway Premiership review show, where we will revise and evaluate all of the action. Ngegama nguVusiwe Ngcobo yabona umashi amahle ngathi azoshumayela kodwa namhlanje akushumayeli mina. I've got two pundits whose word is gospel. They saw miracles being performed this weekend and are ready to testify. First to the pulpit is Grant Bisset. Now, his Bible only has numbers, and you can catch his sermon live on game day, which he delivers from the commentator's booth. How was the pulpit this weekend?
Pulpit was great. Congregation was out in force.
And you were walking on water.
No. But the players weren't. Yeah.
They were walking on sand.
It was very dry out there. Yeah.
And then we have another brother, Mazola Molefe. Now, he's a seasoned super journo, but to Shakes Mashaba, we say he will always be a small boy.
Oh, but the
Small
Shakes.
boy.
Yeesh, those were the days. No, I saw some big boys play this weekend, so highly entertained. Should I say it? Give it to them already.
You already said it at the top of the show. Ordinarily, we would have had a full 8 games taking place this weekend, but Royal AM Twitli Twatla struggles do continue, so their game against Golden Arrows was, of course, postponed. So we now have 7 games to enjoy, and this is a roundup of everything that went down in the Betway Premiership.
Hello football lovers, welcome to the Betway Premiership Weekend Roundup, where we break down all the action, all the goals and all the drama. Because in Mzansi, our football isn't just a game, it's an entire soap opera, always loaded with extra spice. We begin under the Friday night lights at the Moses Mabhida Stadium, where Amazulu decided to show Marumo Gallants who's boss with a comfortable 2-0 win. Goals from Rowan Human and Wade Euster either side of half-time meant that by the final whistle, Gallants were left wondering if they should just have stayed at home and watched Scheme Sam instead. If you're a Stellenbosch fan, you might want to skip this part. Chiefs rocked up at the Athlone Stadium and took all 3 points with a 1-0 victory. 1 goal from Mr. Lollipop, Maccabi Lelepo, was all they needed to send the Amakosi faithful into full weekend groove mode. Saturday's action was all about the big one at Loftus. First versus second, champions versus challengers. We expected fireworks, and this game duly delivered. Sundowns did Sundowns things, moving like taxi drivers in peak traffic, quick, efficient, and showing no mercy. The Pirates' defense, on the other hand, looked like they were waiting for an Uber that never arrived.
Oh man, what a goal from the Brazilian!
Lucas Ribeiro Costa bagged a brace to go with goals from Tebogo Mokoena and Grant Kekana. Sundowns sending Pirates packing with a 4-1 victory. Elsewhere on Saturday, Magesi finally moved off the foot of the table after breaking their winless streak with a 2-0 win over Cape Town City. It's turning pretty sour pretty quickly for Muhsin Ertugrul at the Citizens. His team looked like they spent the whole week enjoying the ocean breeze instead of training. TS Galaxy are up to 7th in the Premiership standings after a 1-0 win over Chippa United. It wasn't the prettiest game, but points are points, and Galaksovic fans won't be complaining after Damir Sovcic gave them all 3.
What an introduction! Solskjaer, with the most delicate of touches, skill, produces a little bit of magic.
Now this one was a shock to the system. Richards Bay ended Polokwane City's 8-game unbeaten streak with a clinical 2-0 victory. Someone must have told them they were underdogs because the Natal Rich Boys showed up like they had something to prove. Polokwane's defense, nowhere to be seen. Finally, Sunday brought us a 1-1 draw between SuperSport United and Sekhukhune. Samir Nokovic bagged his first goal for Matsatsansa, and boy, was it a banger.
Sukamanja, Makitikiti, and Kokonja Piano, Schwarzer. Come at the hour, come at the man.
The 1-1 draw ends a 4-game losing streak for Gavin Hunt's boys.
So Amasandawana are 9 points clear at the top of the table after their dominant victory over Orlando Pirates at a sold-out Loftus Stadium. Kaizer Chiefs, they bagged a solid win away from home against Stellenbosch FC, and Richards Bay, they shocked the Orange Army. Mazola, let's start with you. Talk to me about the Chiefs' victory over Sergeant Barker's boys.
Yeah, no, Sergeant Barker's boys were absent from duty, really. Perhaps maybe the fatigue that comes with playing continental football, going up and down. Chiefs are well rested, and maybe to quote Bobby Mutau, they cooked on the day. I don't know if they're gonna continue cooking throughout the season, but a deserved victory. I thought Chiefs were value for money for sure.
But perhaps also speaking to that first victory they had against Stellenbosch, not so much of a fluke if they were able to do it twice.
Yeah, and there was a lot of banter going on social media where Stelly's posted, a graphic of the coach saying he looks forward to getting maximum points from Kaizer Chiefs, and then I went and I pulled out the head-to-head stats.
We saw you, Mr. Spicy.
Where actually they were telling a very different story, and it's no surprise that Kaizer Chiefs continued to dominate that fixture.
And they continue to cook, as per the words of Bobby Madawa. Grant, you had one of the best seats in the house for Mamelodi Sundowns going up against Orlando Pirates. Mazola was also there on touchline. His view not quite like yours.
Mine was good until the Sundowns flag started waving in front of my commentary box.
Those flags were massive.
Yeah,
Talk to me about perhaps what did you see differently from your vantage points?
I'm sure I saw
something that we could have missed. You've got
well, I'm sure I saw the pitch the same way as everyone did. It's such a shame because it ruined what could have been. I won't say ruined, but it definitely took down
what could have been a very.
But also just the general look of what was world-class. Packed stadium, really good players on display, wonderful goals, and then
more.
Sure, but you know what? Mamelodi Sundowns just tore Pirates apart in a game where people thought it could be even
matched.
And some were even suggesting maybe Pirates were the favourites coming into this one for a very long time. They've had the edge when it comes to cups, but when it comes to the league, it's been Sundowns. For the last 5 years, Pirates haven't been able to beat them in a league game. And then that trend just continued because all of a sudden you have this dynamic where the gap can be closed.
Yeah.
And come the end of the game, it's as wide as we've seen in seasons past. Well, usually 5 games in, it's already 9 points, but
So maybe we look at the fact that it was a top-of-the-table clash coming into the game separated by 6 points. But if you're a Pirates supporter, you're saying, I don't need to beat Sundowns to win the league. I just need to win my other games. And
Sundowns are going to win theirs as well, though.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think if it was one of the opening fixtures of the Betway Premiership season, then you could argue you don't need to beat Sundowns to win the league. But when you're at the halfway mark and you've got to make a statement because if they beat you, they pull 9 points away from you, then it lands itself in a situation where you have to start cancelling them out and playing catch up. And to play catch up, that means you have to beat them when you play them. If they were equal on points and they lose, you never know what could happen in the next respective fixture. But 9 points, even with a game in hand, Orlando Pirates have got a mountain to climb.
Because they have another opportunity in mid-March, where they are
it's good, Dean.
Sure. But what will the points gap look like then?
Maybe
15. Sundowns are less prone to have those hiccups
but what
along
do we
the way, right?
what do we attribute those? What do we then attribute those hiccups to from a Buccaneers point of view? Is it not seeing the squad rotation as much as we see at Mamelodi Sundowns? Where could we say this is why a coach, Cardoso, can say, it took me 20 minutes to plan for this Pirates team?
Yeah, the thing is, it's a double-edged sword because the consistency has clearly helped them, right? And there seems to be two schools of thought with top teams around the world. One is that you have a very small, well, not a very small, but a small squad where players play consistently, and I guess then a lot of the burden falls on the physical trainer. And then you've got the other side of the coin, a sundown situation where they're constantly able to rotate. And I think they identify the games where, okay, we can make 5, 6, 11, the 11 changes didn't work for Polokwane City, a few months ago. But with Pirates, then you have a situation here where Sisani has played almost every single minute and he's suddenly not available and you're scrambling. And you do think to yourself, surely there's games along the way where Sisani could have sat out. He didn't need to have played 39 games up to this point. 29, sorry. It might as well have been 39.
Maybe, Mazola, before we move our conversation along to the Polokwane City encounter, you can just give me your quick thoughts on that 20 minutes prep.
Yeah, I mean, I only heard that obviously in the post-match press conference. And this is my theory, right? That if he says he only had 20 minutes, he probably meant in terms of sessions. If they spend an hour most of the time preparing, doing video analysis or dissecting the opposition in terms of the playing patterns and whatever, then if you spend an hour naturally, if you don't have enough time because of your tough schedule, then you only spend 20 minutes. Video analysis, the same, whatever. If he didn't mean it like that, then yeah, he's cocky for sure.
Cocky, arrogant, disrespectful.
It's very possible to view it like that. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt at this point to say maybe just because it's a little easier to predict what Pirates will bring. It was very obvious Sisane was not going to play, so they already knew that. So they already knew it was going to be clocky, right? Even if the Mbata news filtered to them a little bit later, there's only so much they can do. And then the only real thing they're trying to figure out is, are we going to be facing evidence or are we going to be facing Tungafasa?
But I must say, looking at his body language in that presser as well, it didn't come across like he was saying, we are so good. He was actually stressing the fact that they have no time to train. So therefore, he landed himself in a position where he's not sleeping, looking at previous games, looking at games ahead, and now realizing after the Tshwane Derby, he's got Pirates next, and they've only got 20 minutes. Because even Ronwen Williams, when we were at Plurkop on a Thursday building up to that match, he was still talking about the Tshwane Derby, and he says, guys, I'll be honest, we haven't even looked at Pirates because they just didn't have enough time. So I think Cardoso was stressing the fact that we have no time, so therefore it only took us 20 minutes. Not like, it's just 20 minutes.
It could be spokespeople. So if anybody needs a spokesperson, Mazola and Grant are available here. Now, Polokwane City could have closed the second-placed Orlando Pirates, but they fell to a shock loss against the Natal Rich Boys. What went wrong for Phuthi Mohafe in this clash?
I think we're actually just seeing Richards Bay click into gear. I think sometimes you feel like you've taken away from the winning team if you just say what went wrong for the team in form. But you have to give a lot of credit to Richards Bay with all those young players that they have, punctuated by a little bit of experience here or there. And I think it's starting to come right for them. We saw a decent result last week, and they built on that. So a lot of credit needs to go to the Natal Rich Boys.
Yeah, I've been watching pretty much most of their games, especially after Brendan Truter got sacked. I've watched Ronnie Gabriel prepare this team, and he's changed a lot tactically. Immediately when Brendan went out the door, Ronnie Gabriel decided to take a different approach. Mm-hmm. And now he's got the help of Papizo Twani, who's like-minded in his approach to the game as well. And I've always felt it was only a matter of time before they start clicking and scoring goals. They'll probably even be more solid at the back when their captain Mtineka comes back as well, because he's now missed 2 matches. And with his leadership, and they're showing at this halfway stage that they could effectively pull away from their relegation struggles, because Magesi keeps, they won over the weekend, but, they continue to struggle and drop points as well. So you just never know what team you're going to get with Magesi, whereas Richards Bay is starting to see a pattern of how they can pull away from that relegation dogfight.
It was actually very nice to see, because even without Butuma, who you would normally be looking at saying that's the man that makes the runs for them, always trying to find the back of the net, they were still able to get that
So
result.
imagine if he's back, when he's back,
Yeah, and another young player obviously then comes in, Bomelo, and he gets the goal. So there's a lot of promise at Richards Bay. You're right with the tactical change also to say we have to show more aggression. We have to play on the front foot. Look at where we are. Look at how playing defensively has served us. Because then if your plan is to always just try and hold the opposition and hope to nick a goal, inevitably you're going to concede, and there appeared to be no plan B to get back into those games. Whereas now you tune in for Richards Bay and you say we're going to see them fight. Yeah.
Indeed, we've seen them fighting, and they managed to fight their way into 3 points. Now, a pair of 2-0 home wins saw Amazulu down gallant, and Magesi moved off the foot of the table with their victory over Cape Town City. Cape Town City. Cape Town City.
The curse of the coach of the month.
Coach of the month too.
Yes, it is the curse of the coach of the month. The wheels have come off spectacularly at Cape Town City.
It was what the new manager bounced, and we knew that he was going to be TD going forward, right? This is just an interim role. So at this point now, it's getting to the end of the season without too much damage being done to the reputation or even the brand of Cape Town City. Then they need to try and finish in the top 8.
Look, I think there could be a spanner in the works. Obviously, they've secured Andries Uldrich for next season, but he was spotted in Cape Town last week watching the games. So he's already in the country assessing. It's only at the halfway mark. So, I wouldn't be surprised if John Committees decides, no, this is not happening, and wants another manager bounce by bringing Andries in, because he's already in the country preparing for next season. So he already knows what to work with. And if things keep falling apart, just let him get started early.
But when you look at that clash, then what is it that Magesi got right? Or was there not much they had to do because of just Cape Town City being so topsy-turvy?
So ineffectual on the day. Magesi stood resolute in terms of defense. Chipazeze always seems to be busy this season. You see how many saves he pulls, even in games where they concede multiple goals, and it was a bystander. I also have to wonder whether it was the unfamiliarity with Seshego Stadium. Luckily, it was played under daylight. No need for the floodlights, and that maybe Magesi playing there now have been able to just get used to the conditions there. Cape Town City maybe not able to. I'm just trying to find an excuse for what was a very tepid, flat performance from them.
And a little bit before we move on in terms of that Maruma Gallants and Amazulu game, because it seems like back with a bang.
But the thing is that they have quality at Amazulu. The quality is there. It was always there. The poor start to the season prompting the change. The co-coaches have had a little bit of up and downs. They've been humbled once or twice over the course of this period that they've been in charge. And actually, I think that's probably been quite good for the development of the team and them as coaches, that it hasn't been all smooth sailing, but there's been enough for them to not have to worry, like, are we next now? They're definitely doing enough, but you're right. A few hiccups along the way that have prompted then change and adaptation.
When we speak about what they've been able to get right, let's speak to it in terms of the players that are making this team tick, particularly in this encounter against Dan Dance's boys.
Before they have an absolute baller in the midfield.
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying about Rowan Human when the two co-coaches took over. And I think it helps that they were, midfielders and, attack-minded players as well. So they know that the potential that they see. And Rowan himself admitted at the beginning of the season that the last 2 years that he's been at Amazulu, he's felt a little bit heavy, sluggish, and he felt he needed to make a physical change so that he can contribute better. And that's what he done on the back of good performances in previous matches to come in against a Marumo Galen side that, has had good results here and there, but also topsy-turvy. And then he's combining when Bongani Zungu, they've got a Ryan Hanamu who's a solid left back in my opinion. And it's no surprise that they get the points. They are able to grind out results. Even the game against SuperSport, where you think SuperSport were the better side, they should have lost that game. They were able to get a result there.
They were indeed able to get a result. Now, finally, SuperSport United, they ended their 4-game losing streak by holding the high-flying Sekhukhune United to a 1-1 draw. Now, are Gavin Hunt's charges moving in the right direction? Because we had to wait for a Kokota Piano to come and turn things around, because it's been tricky for Coach Gavin Hunt.
Yeah, it has been. Well, I mean, what did Gavin say at the end of the match? He talked about, you have quality players. In that, he was making a reference to my boy, who's just come in to make his first start. And I think he was the difference that they've been looking for in midfield to combine with Ngcobo, who's been outstanding, but often alone, right? So now I don't fear for SuperSport anymore, now that I've seen what they have coming into the team, and what they've been able to produce. I think now they've turned that proverbial corner after a very, very poor run. So you have to also consider that this was on the back of a truly awful run away from home. It's a good point.
Yeah, I definitely thought they were going to drop all points against Sekhukhune United, especially considering that not so long ago they hit them for 3. Yes, they had a red card with Morris before he's moved to Kaizer Chiefs, but it's a solid way to sort of bounce back on the back of 3 defeats, and people are starting to ask questions about whether Gavin Hunt is safe in the dugout and whatever, and then they produce a performance like that. And to be fair, they have, with the exception of the Tshwane Derby, they have been looking really good.
You're right. They lost a week before that the game you alluded to, the Amazulu game.
They were all over Amazulu. They just couldn't. They couldn't score more goals than Amazulu, obviously, to get the 3 points.
Derby, they were nowhere. Yeah. But I mean, Sundowns are just too good. So
in Derby, they were nowhere. Neither were Pirates.
I was waiting for Mazola to find a place to slot that in. Now we've seen the action and we've heard the analysis from our esteemed coaches. Now it's time to highlight our standout performers. Now this segment of the show is called the Weekend Special, where both Grant and Mazola will give us their best 11 of the week. We'll start with you at the pulpit, Mr. Bisset. Let's go.
Am I running this entire thing?
You're running the entire thing. Let's go from the back.
I haven't looked at your homework. I'm going to go with a man who keeps a clean sheet, makes 6 saves, including a really good double save, and I'm picking Tapeira from TS Galaxy as my goalkeeper. Sundowns pairing of Kekane and Suarez, and I've also gone with Keegan Allen of Richards Bay, top performance at the back, and Tsepo Makgoga in the midfield. I've gone with Teboho Mokoena and Marcelo Allende from Mamelodi Sundowns. Then I've gone with Lebohang Mabwe from SuperSport United, Lilepo for Kaizer Chiefs, and Rowan Human will be my most attack-minded midfielder in that 5.
I can just guess who your forward is.
I'll only need one forward.
Let's go. Who is it?
And his name is Lucas Ribeiro, and he's all I need.
All right, that's all you need. Mazola, give it to us.
4-5-1. Sounds like, back in the Bundu's approach there with the defensive-minded. But I'm going all-out attack. Mine will be I'll start with the goalkeeper, of course,
Okay.
Badra Sangare.
All right.
And then in defense, I've got 4. I've got Lucas Suarez of Mamelodi Sundowns. I've got Rian Hanamu of Amazulu. I've got Ime Ocon, SuperSport United, and Keegan Allen of Richards Bay. Then we move to midfield. I think, easy picks here, Lilepo, Teboho Mokoena, and Lebo Maboe.
All right. And then up front.
Up front, I've got 3. Instead of putting Rowan Human in midfield, I've put him as a striker just behind Lucas Ribeiro Costa and Samir Nukovic. I think we will smoke Grant.
So, gents, now that you've seen each other's teams, any changes you'd like to make, or are you sticking with your original selections? Please don't disappoint me. Don't be copycats.
No changes.
No changes. I'm happy.
Confident we can.
As I've already said, I'm not sure how I would organize this team, and I have a very attacking midfield. Please, there'll be more than enough going forward. Yeah.
Okay. So, no changes on mine.
I actually want to see how
Sure.
many you guys have in common. So you've got Suarez, you've got Allen, you've got Mokoena, you've got Mabue, you've got
Lilepo.
Human, you've got Lilepo, you've got Costa. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
7. Yep.
7 out of 11. Not bad.
Close.
All right. Well, let us know what you think at home. Did Grant or Mazola come out on top in the battle of the coaches this week? Drop a comment down below and you could feature on next week's show. I'm sure both of you guys are going with Miguel Cardoso. Do I need to ask who the
Yeah.
coaches are?
I'm going to go with him because the team is packed with Sundowns players, and I trust him to tinker with it enough to find a way of making it work. He'll make it work.
Exactly. I was going to say the same. I think with this team, Miguel, just give him the legal right.
Right. Now we're almost at the end of our show, but before we go, I'm giving you each, I'm such a nice person, 30 seconds to give me your hot take from this week in terms of the action you witnessed. 30 seconds starts now.
I think the debate around whether Rile and Costa, there should be a comparison there. I think one, in as much as I think they're great players, both of them, but one is by far the better player and, a serious contender, if not the contender already on his own to be player of football of the season in the league.
Costa, that's this discussion.
Costa is just on another level. So I think the weekend's fixture proved once and for all that, he's the more mature player.
Time's up. Your thoughts?
I have a right of response.
Yeah, you just have a right of
Listen, I
opinion.
don't disagree that as of now he is the better
Yeah.
player, but he also happens to have 6 years more experience, which you're talking about here and now. I don't think that's a statement that many would disagree with, even if you're just looking at the past weekend's results and play. But really, ceiling seems to be higher. Yeah.
Coming into this game. And I think it's a bit early to know how football of the season is, Mazola.
15 games in, you can see who's going to be the standout player unless he gets injured and doesn't play the rest of the 15 games. I think
is still cooking.
No, I think-
Lilepo is still cooking.
in the words of Lindam Tambo, not my handwriting. Give Ribeiro the player of the season already.
It's your handwriting. Okay, Grant, your 30 seconds starts now.
My hot take. Richards Bay will, by hook or by crook, end in the top 8 this season. I think that we're seeing that they're on the right track at the moment. And given the complexion of the league and how there are so many teams just congregated in that middle, I think there may be 2 wins, whilst a couple of the mid-table teams stay stagnant. They're 2 wins maybe away from actually starting to push.
Okay, time's up. Also, with the 100 million rand investment, you better be in the top something. You want to say anything?
Look, I think everybody is kind of automatically out of that relegation quagmire because of the situation at Royal AM. I mean, you're just playing to avoid the playoffs by now, because Royal AM, even if they don't get expelled or they stay and they have to play their games, to play catch up of
It's virtually
6, 7
almost
games, it's nearly impossible that they will play catch up and survive.
And of course, we take a break coming up this week because of Nedbank Cup action, where we still wait to see what's going to happen with the Royal AM saga. It's going to be very interesting. But ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Our roundup of the weekend's Betway Premiership action is complete. We are off air next week, as I've mentioned, but we'll be back when the Betway Premiership action returns. From myself, Vusiwe Ngcobo, alongside our 2 preachers, Mazola, Super Journo, Makeup Finisher, Molefe, and Grant, the man from Polokwane. Bisset. Give me an amen, guys.
Hallelujah.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. We'll see you next time. Good night. God bless.